is a video over a portion of Tai Chi walking. And a lot of people, when they come to Tai Chi, the leg strength, the stability, the core, maybe the posture, structural stability, those things can be, they need to be improved, right? Or made better than what they are. And that's some of the reasons why some people come to Tai Chi, not for the martial art application or for the internal development of breathing, mind, all of those things, but just for the pure fitness aspect of it to improve your health. So if you're watching this video and you're taking classes from me, or you live somewhere else and you'd like to know more about Tai Chi walking, this should be a pretty good video, and it'll be maybe 20 minutes or so. So what do I mean by a short frame? So to me, in Tai Chi, there's a short frame, like say the width of my shoulders, and then there's like more of a medium frame or a large frame, like maybe twice as wide as my shoulders. The problem, though, for people, a lot of the times, even people, active people that come to Tai Chi, it's the say when they shift the weight off, they want to move through. They have a problem maintaining the stability this way and those things. And again, sometimes it's just strength. So with there are some other videos that accompany this, like more of a grasp of a progression. Like say, for example, if someone comes into me, I may start them with a small frame and then try to get them to expand the width of that stance to a larger frame. That's not the original purpose of having a small frame or a large frame or fast frame, fast form, slow form in Tai Chi. They have the original purposes of those things is different. Meaning, like you may have started with a large frame and graduated to a small frame because the small frame is more, it's covering the person more, right? It's going to be more agile, and I'm going to be able to utilize the core more because I'm more connected. My arms are more connected to my body instead of it being out here right. You get more of that connection. So we're not going to discuss that in this video, but I will say this. So if you're new to Tai Chi, the width of the stance, you can narrow it, and as you get the coordination of the movements, keep trying to gradually expand it so that you can get more of the leg strength, the core strength, the balance, right? Just kind of gradually progress through it. So there's two main ways that I see this. There is this way, like in this alignment with my shoulder and my ankle, right? And in a way, it looks like I'm leaning forward, but in reality, I'm really not. If I just bend this knee, my upper body becomes straight, right? So the connecting point, the ankle, the knee, the hip, the shoulder, and this stance like this, right? There's two approaches to this, right? There's this way, and this is going to put more emphasis on my abdominals and my lumbar, right? And then the hip flexors, not so much at some, but the psoas muscles, right? I'm trying to support the spine, and some of the hip flexors, right? In this way. Now, there's the disadvantage to this is that if I'm not like this, right, and I roll the spine back like this, right? Now that connection that was with the ankle, the knee, the hip, and the shoulders are broken, right? Because I'm grounded the back to do this. I don't recommend this. And a lot of people in Tai Chi, they'll see them and they look really straight, and if they've got on like a flowing upper shirt, you can't really see if they're rounding the back, right? But I want to make sure that my hip is in a line with my torso, right? So this connecting point, and then potentially the knee, right, before I do this like this. But to move forward, right, you need to put it in context. If I'm like this, and I move, if you don't think about the handwork, and you don't put it into context, it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But if I'm here and I want to do something and I'm using this short stance, when I would be in this position, I would be doing something, pushing something, striking something, etc. Right? And then I would be here, and when I step through, this is the momentum part, right? And then I would engage here, right? So the other aspect of that is that when I step and I'm in this position, instead of having this elongation, I bend this knee slightly so that I stay like this. Now, I can't get a full extension if I was just trying to do it this way, but if I'm utilizing momentum to move me forward and then I make contact with something, I can still achieve the same goal. Now, if I'm like this and I'm initiating force, I'm striking something, pushing something, whatever it may be, I can stabilize myself by transferring this energy down into the foot, right, into the ground. Now look, this knee is not locked, right? I'm not going to lock the knee even in this position, but it's closed. But still, the connective tissue, the stabilizing muscles are supporting the knee and the ankle and the hip, right? So yeah, I'm either here, but like I said, we don't want to do this, because if I did something like this and I apply force and I get reaction force back, or someone applies force to me, the weak point is going to become my spine now, right? So instead of me being able to transfer most of this force down through my leg into the ground, it's going to bind up here in my lower spine. And this force and action, even if I try to stabilize me, the spine is still going to take that energy. And I don't want to do that. So again, if I'm like this isn't locked, but it's closed, I can transfer down. The other way, my knee is open, right? You can see visibly it's more open. When I apply force and I get reaction force back, or when force is applied against me, I can use my leg now more like a shock absorber, right? And I can absorb that energy and I can still transfer it down into my foot, into the ground, and maintain my spine without bending it like this and then applying the energy or force into my spine and hurting. So that's the two ways to do this. And it will be the same whether it's a small frame or it's a large frame, right? Like in the squat job that I teach, many other moves where I'm using a longer stance, see how much longer and wider it is, right? But when I go to step through, I bend and I bring this back up and then I step through to do it, right? So the same with Tai Chi on that part. Also, right, I can do it this way. I'm in a long stance, and as I extend it, I do it in a way so I can keep my hip under me, but I don't completely extend this so that I'm pushing into the spine, right? I do it so I keep this knee bent enough that I can really transfer down, keep my hip and my spine in line, so that what energy either I exert and get reaction force back, or that's exerted into me, I can transfer it into the ground. So not much more to that. I have another video that I'm going to make over progressive development and doing these stances, right? But this video is more about just applying it. So I'm going to do a couple of sets of the stance and walking through. So again, I'm going to use this narrow stance, and I'm here, and I'm going to do this one first, where everything is in a line. So I'm going to bend this knee, make me back straight. I'm going to slightly turn this foot so that when I do step through, I can still engage the big toe. And I'm going to feel like I'm pulling me forward. I don't want to reach out with my foot. As I place the heel down, I start to transfer the weight. I'm going to straighten out my rear leg. And as I do, I'm going to raise the crown of my head and push down into my rear heel so I don't end up raising it up or pulling the head back or rounding the back. So again, I'm here. I bend this knee. I slightly turn this foot. If it was a deeper, wider stance, I would turn this foot more. And then look, I pull me through. I put the foot where I feel I need it. And I push down into this foot and lift up with the head and straighten me out. And then again, I bend. I slightly turn the foot. I step through. I push down, straighten this leg out, and push up with the head. In my mind, I'm thinking of pushing down and the energy is going back up, right, like this. And I want to keep my chin like this, right? So I kind of even pull the back of the head up like this, right? If you think about it, and I stood up straight, my chin would be flat, right? That's a good way to check yourself, too, because a lot of times people do like this, right? And they think that they're lifting up like this. So then if I sit just straight up, look, my head is leaning back, right? I'm not in a straight line anymore. So I'm going to do it one more time. So I'm here in this position. I've been, I slightly turn. I pull myself through. Weight slowly here. I push down, I lift up, and I straighten me out. And I, just let the arms hang. Right, keep the shoulders relaxed. Right, I bend this knee, I slightly turn, I pull me through, I push down, I stick. And then this next sequence will be leaving the back knee open more so that I can be more like this. And again, this is straight in the context that my body is in a line, right? It's not fragmented or broken. Keeping the knee more open, my hips are looser so I can pull my hip underneath so it's in a line with my torso. And if you're wondering about turning around and stuff like that, if you're watching this in time, I will make another video over the next few days on opening and closing, right? Being able to turn the leg out or the leg in, and being able to turn around and all of that stuff, and make some explanation of it. So we're going to start from here, right? So the knees bent, and look, I'm like this, right? And my head is going straight up. And if you think more now, like when you do this, think of it like an electrical line, right? It may go like this or something like that, but there is nothing that, let's see how to say this. Yes, there's a broken line with the knee, right? But I can transfer energy and it's not going to get caught up, right? It's not going to get pinched. Because I can keep transferring the energy down. That's totally different than doing this with my spine here, right? Because the spine, yes, the spine moves like this, right? It moves this way and all of that stuff. But the amount of movement and then being able to absorb the energy, you can't do it without you could put your back immediately, meaning I'm like this, and then somebody charges at me, and the force goes in here, and I try to push back against it, and I can't transfer the energy down all the way. Good possibility I can hurt myself right then. And if you're learning Tai Chi, you're not concerned about the martial application. You may have a bad lower back, right? Well, why would I want to be pinching on my lower back, right? So I either want to be here or here. In a lot of ways, doing this posture, if you have a weak lower back, you have a lumbar because you sit in a chair all the time, this is going to kind of elongate the back. And it's going to work your abdominals and your lumbar to try to strengthen them when you do this. So it's a win-win. So, but again, I'm here, and the hip is under me, right? So I'm like this. And in this situation, I feel like I'm leading out with, you can say your Taiji, right? But we'll just say I'm bleeding out with my bladder, my sternum, and my forehead, right? I want these things to project forward out, right? So if I go to step through, I put more weight here, I turn this foot slightly in, and I'm going to pull me through, right? I keep me upright. And as I put the foot down, this knee is quite a bit bent, right? As I go to extend it, I time this and this so that I can extend this and put the weight here without locking this, so it's enough to keep my hip in alignment with my upper torso, right? Take the weight off, I step through, and I shift. See? And when I do it, when I go to straighten this out, the stopping point to me is when my bladder or my non-skin area and my torso, when this stuff is in an alignment, that's when I stop, right? I don't keep going, right? Because I'm not doing this, but I don't keep going and then try to straighten it out and then force the hip forward, which puts force into here, right? It's just going to bind this up. I want my hips to be loose. I take the weight off again, I pull me through, and I shift the weight, right? So I'm like this. Again, all of this is in a line, and I'm here. Step through, and I shift. Now, again, there's a point where you will find, like, so right now my hip, right, my hips are in line with my torso, right? And look, I can keep trying to straighten this, and look, if you notice right before you start to lock it, that's when it's going to push the hip back out, right? So hips underneath, and then look, as I go to do this final a bit of extension, that's when the hip will roll. Good. And then with the roll of it, and I'm trying to keep the head upright, that's when you start to do this. Now, there's, you can give and take and all that stuff in between it, but for the average person that's coming to this, in other words, you can have this leg almost completely straight and be able to work this, right? You see what I'm saying? My hips here, and then before I straighten it out, I roll it under like this. But still, you can do it all you want, and it's still going to tilt the hip. But to me, giving a person this option so they can get better at their posture and their structure, strengthen the core, or a more bit like this, so that they can keep the hip under them this way. I think that's a great way to start with this, and if there's some unique other ways that people apply it, that's great. But here, and then pull me through, and then I'm going to shift, and then I think about holding this under like this. And then again, like I said, if I straighten it out all the way, it's going to roll my hip, all right? So the difference is that, and you need to keep it in your mind, right? If I'm doing it like this, I'm really thinking about the top of my head, right? I'm extending me out, right? When I do this in swatch out, and I go to do this with a throw, I'm thinking about mine, but it's a very offensive movement, right? I'm really trying to drive forward to push this person over. And if I'm doing this kind of a stance the same way with a strike, I'm really thinking about driving this energy forward and into the person. You can say the same thing about this, right? But I have to think about leading with the hip, right? I have to think that the hip is what's making this action happen, right? So that I keep myself this way. If not, I'm going to lean with my forehead and I'll be leaning like this. Okay? I don't want to do that. Or the person will do this like with their chest and they'll be like this. And then it starts to create this flow back here. Some people really do it hard, like, they're like this, and then they'll be like this, to really do it, to straighten this thing out, but it's curving the lower back. So me personally, I just don't feel that that's a good approach. So, so again, one more time, straightening out, a bend, or I'm here. Right, I'm leading, this is projecting out, and then So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Again, that middle part, right, where I'm doing this, right, but but I don't, the people go, well, you're leaning. Okay, this is what I'm getting at. They said this is leaning. In reality, this is the straight line, right? If I'm doing a throw, I want to be in this line, but it's that they do this. They tell the person to push back, and then it rounds the lower back. Okay, again, to me personally, in my instruction of people, I don't want you doing that. You're going to end up exacerbating a pre-existing condition, or you're going to potentially cause an issue. We want to strengthen muscles and connective tissue, right? An internal aspect of the body. We don't want to put impact into the joints. We want to save our joints. We don't want to lock them and then have force going into these. You can't transfer kinetic energy anyway, and you end up causing more pain. Hurt your joints. So nice and everything is open, right? Even this isn't locked, but everything's open. The hips open, the ankles are open. The knees. I'm extending my head this way. And to me, this is kind of dynamic. So I hope that made sense, and I hope the video wasn't too long. But if you're coming to me for classes or you're interested in what I do, there will be 2-3 more videos over this. I'm doing kind of this series over what I see Tai Chi as for fitness, functional fitness to improve my health. There'll be other videos that are over the martial application or more the internal concepts. So anyway, thank you for watching.